Hi everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Paratalk. And on this episode of Paratalk, it is of course Halloween. So, who better to? You heard him a little bit there. Well, there you go. He's here. Okay,
I'm here.
The man is here, Mr. Shrouded Hand, Tom himself. All right, mate. Hello.
Yep. Hiya.
It's been a while. Have you been off planet or what? Where have you been?
I've just been. I don't know what I've been doing. I've just busy, I guess. Been having a lot of work done on my house, so I've been living in a building site for the last 4 or 5 months.
Oh,
so just been everything's been a bit chaotic over here.
Are you going for the new 80s look bathroom? Are you or what?
No, we're having it's almost like the entire downstairs of the house has been half of it's been demolished and then rebuilt up.
Are you so it's like major work then?
It's like walls knocked down and then rebuilt just to change the layout of the house. Kitchen being moved to a completely different area. It's just been a nightmare, to be honest. But
it's all those hundreds of thousands of pounds you're making on YouTube.
No, it's not.
All that big money.
No, no. Yeah, and so I don't know for how long. Every time I try and record something, there's just the sound of hammering and sledgehammers knocking things down constantly. So that's pretty much what I've been doing for the last however long. So
you're kind of recording at the dead of night now, sort of
trying to find a space in between the constant noise, and then fitting everything else in as well, because just stuff you can't do because you've got people in the house all the time as well. You can't you
can't walk around in your underwear.
No, exactly.
Yeah. I only ever experienced that once. My parents had stuff done. I was living at home. Of course, back then I was a rebellious teenager, and of course the guys are fitting a new window thing, patio door thing, and I got the builders are here. I got to play my music. I got to look rebellious. They must probably thought, what a cock. But there you go. So yeah. No, I'm not saying you were doing that, but you know what I mean. That'd have been a bit weird if you were doing that, because you're a grown man now. But
I just stay out the way. I generally just I'm a bit introverted anyway. I'm not very good at interacting with people, so having a bunch of random people in the house all the time, and then I just kind of hide in my room. Stay out the way.
So to them, you're the weird lodger that lives upstairs.
Yeah, they just see me scurry out every now and then. I might make them a cup of tea or something, and then just scurry back to my room and
you kind of creep past them, looking at the floor with your kitchen towel of toast and your cup of tea, your mug of tea.
Yeah,
and you're gone, and then you're upstairs just moving stuff around.
Yeah, that is literally
you.
What it's like.
Yep, that is literally you. Well, I haven't been doing a lot. Well, I have been doing a lot, and I haven't been doing a lot. I've been having a bit of a clear out. I've having a cleansing. I've been cleansing myself. Well, not cleansing me, but cleansing my abode. I've decided that I am cleaning the way for a new era. So yeah, I just got too much shit basically. I need to get rid of some of it. You get in your life, you accumulate stuff, and no matter what that be, it could be demons, it could be negative attachments. In my case, it's video games and too many clothes that don't fit me. So I need to get rid of some of it. So I've been on a mission to have a clear out. But you get to a point where the problem is, right, like with anything, and I'm just warning everybody right now, this is me and Tom having a chat, and we're going to chat about all manner of things through this podcast. So it's not about an actual Halloween haunt. Well, it is, because I got some stories, but we're just having a little bit of a catch up. We thought we'd involve you as well. So pull up a chair and have a listen. But anyway, so I'm having a sort out, and I've got these clothes and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's a nice pair of jeans. I think, are they designer? Oh, I must have paid a good penny for them. And I'm like, oh yeah, they don't really fit me. They don't really fit me, but I might lose the weight one day, so I better hold on to them. Just get, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm exactly the same.
But just get rid of them. Just give them to the charity shop so that, whoever wants to buy them or whatever can buy them. But I think to myself, it's very difficult. You do form attachments with stuff, and like I said, I was telling you earlier, I've got, I used to be, I still am into video gaming. I've always been into video gaming, but I used to buy and sell video games as well, on the older trade-in places. I'm not going to say the name because why should I give them publicity when they're not paying me anything? So I used to do the old bit of trading, and I kind of don't do it anymore. Well, I kind of, occasionally, maybe once in a blue moon. And I've got maybe like these big boxes of like 8-bit stuff and the old, PS2 and Xbox stuff and things like that. General stuff, like you have. And I just think to myself, I should donate this. I should get all this in a box and go to a retro museum or something, or somebody that could really use this stuff and go, here, happy birthday, have all my crap. Have it all, because there's nothing wrong with it. It's just old stuff, and that would free up space for me to put new junk there. That's the problem. Yeah. See, when you have a clear out and you clear all your stuff away and go, look at it. It's like a breath of fresh air. It's like a new house. It's all clean. Nothing better than cleaning out an area and then vacuuming the carpet and going, look at that. Look at that space I've got. And then you go out and you buy more crap and just, that'll fit there, won't it? I'll just put that there for now. It's like when you buy something on Amazon, right? You buy something on Amazon and you go, I better keep the box just in case. Yeah. I've got boxes in my bedroom that are 2 years old because just in case. Why am I keeping that?
Do you have the random box of wires that you can't remember what they go to? No, mine's just like, I better keep them just in case I find what they're for.
Mine's a carry bag. I've got I think it's a Tesco carrier bag full of wires that I have got no clue. Well, actually, some of them are. I upgraded all my. I'm a bit into my hi-fi, so I upgraded all my speaker wire a while back, bought some real nice stuff, and I took all the old stuff off, which was literally turning into, it was actually petrified, some of it, where it had been led on the floor and threaded through stuff for so long it had just sort of grown into that shape, and you could literally crack it in half. And I thought, no wonder my amp was getting quiet. It's not, there's no signal here. But so I upgraded all that. Yeah, I've got one of those bags. And of course, when you get that wire, you wrap it up on something and go, I'll just put it in there because I never know when I might need it. Well, the only time you're going to need that is when you take it out and chuck it in the bin, because it's not.
Nah. As soon as you chuck it away, you're gonna suddenly need it. That's the thing. You got to keep it. You got to keep it because
yeah, I know.
You'll go to plug in some random console that you haven't played for 20 years, and you'll be like, where was that wire?
I was looking. Do you know what I was looking for the other day? I thought, do you know when you think you got something right, and you're thinking, where did I put that SCART lead? SCART lead? What is it? It's not 1992, but SCART. I remember when SCART leads came. I mean, before that it was all like RCA stuff and that, and plugging stuff in, and it was all like real bad picture quality. And then suddenly, go around a mate's house and go, that picture's really good. Yeah, it's a new telly, innit? It's got a SCART in it, SCART lead on it. It's got a SCART on the back. Plug it in and it sees the picture, auto tunes. It's a SCART lead, isn't it? And I'm like, wow, it's a SCART lead. And then of course I go back home and go, can we have a telly with a SCART lead? Because it's an amazing picture and from the video, and it looks like amazing. And my dad's like, I'm not made of money, so I didn't get one. But I remember the first telly I got, it had a SCART lead and it was Dolby Pro Logic, and my head nearly exploded when I put Back to the Future on VHS. A stereo, Nicam stereo. Remember that Nicam stereo? Put that in. Yeah, I remember that. God.
I'd like to meet the person who designed the SCART lead, because I reckon they've got to be a psychopath. I can't imagine a more awkward shaped thing to try and plug into the back of a TV. You know, when you're reaching around the back of a TV trying to find where to plug it in. You can't see around there.
Don't touch it.
It's got to be the worst thing I've ever known to plug in.
Don't touch it. You got to plug it in, and you got to move carefully away, because one little touch, one little breath, and the picture will just go blue or red or whatever. And you're thinking, why the fuck? Why does this thing not just stay in? Yeah, I was so happy when HDMI came out. Like, goodbye, see you, Scarlet Leads. You can go in the river. I don't want you. Go in the canal. And yet I still got them. I still got a bunch of Scarlet Leads.
Yeah, I've got tons of Scarlet Leads.
Well,
I've got all these I've got modded ZX Spectrums that take a Scarlet Lead, so you get a nice picture of it. So I keep them around for that.
I do have a CRT telly that I put my my Atari. I got an Atari 2600, and of course I plug that in because it's still got the modulator in it, and I need the crap picture. You got to have the for that whole original 70s feel. But I just I still got a CRT telly, and it's also got a SCART connector in it, because I've still got 2 video players, which and I've still got video cassettes, because I thought, I got to watch my Blake 7 VHSs somehow, and I've only got Battlestar Galactica and Sapphire and Steel on DVD, but I've got all my Blake 7s on VHS, and a few Doctor Who's. Tom Baker is the man. I got some Tom Baker stuff, but I just going back to cleaning out, it's just like you just look at stuff and you think, I don't want to get rid of that. I'd make a really rubbish medium going into someone's house, going I'm here to clean your house of all the evil demons, and then you go in and you'll be going, oh yeah, there's an evil one. He's all right. He can stay. He's all right. He talks to me nice. And there's one there. He swears a lot. He can go. And I'll be like, are they? And then the person will come and go, thank you. Here's a gift, because I'll make a donation, because I know you don't charge, because it's a gift. And is there anyone left? Well, there's a few. Well, I thought you cleaned them all. Well, there's a couple. There's one called Jeff and one called Derek, but they're all right. They're not going to cause you no problems. They just like being around. So all the older others, I've kicked them all out. They're all gone.
I banished them.
That was about all I did. I didn't actually go into a house and do a cleaning. I just say, but yeah, that was about it. But anyway, Halloween. Apparently, this is a Halloween episode, but you wouldn't think so by listening to it. People are listening, going, "What are they on about? What is he talking about? Why does he always talk about stuff that has nothing to do with the actual topic?" Maybe the topic of this episode should be Happy Halloween Paratalk, but not really. Or
it's pretty much like every time we do an episode.
So
it's got a topic, but we hardly ever talk about the topic. We just end up talking about some random other thing.
Well, I'm sure we've got 1 or 2 listeners left. Everybody else is gone.
Yeah.
They're like this.
Or they can just put in the comments podcast starts and give a timestamp.
Podcast starts
Call the waffle
at 45 minutes, ends at 50 minutes. So
they actually start talking about some paranormal stuff for 1 minute.
I think they mentioned the word ghost at some point. I was going to ask you, have you been doing any paranormal, a lot of indie? What else I was going to ask you? We're going to move a little bit on now to the Paratalk gaming section. This is the gaming segment we're now in, so strap yourself in. I was going to ask you, I've been watching a lot of what I call video game paranormal horror, which is I've got to run this store for the night, and it's in the middle of nowhere, and weird people come in and ask me weird stuff, and I've got to decide which one is the serial killer or whatever. Have you been playing a lot of that stuff? And also, what do you think of that sort of those games? Are they all very samey? Are they? What do you think?
I haven't played a lot. I've played one recently. I can't remember what the name of it. It sounds like a similar concept. Like you're in a house.
Yeah.
There's some kind of apocalypse going on outside, and then every day you get so many visitors.
That's right. Yeah.
And you've got to let so many in, but some of them are evil. And then it's got a really weird, unique art style. But then it also feels like I've played a lot of games like that.
It's the sun, isn't it? It's the sun. Something's happened to the sun.
That's the one. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. I played it. It was pretty good. It got a bit. I got a bit bored of it, to be honest, after a while. But it was quite a unique style. But I don't know. I played so many of these like weird indie horror games where I don't know. It's like they try and make all the dialogue deliberately weird to give it a bit of a uncanny vibe, I guess. But then it all kind of ends up feeling a bit samey. Like the characters will come and they'll just say really vague and slightly mysterious sounding things to you, but they don't quite make sense. And then I feel like I've played so many indie games where they just do that same thing over and over. It felt a lot like that.
Have you got any favorites? I mean, are there any favorites that you like playing?
I'll be honest, I haven't played many. Like in the last year or so, I haven't played many actual horror games. I set up like my Twitch with the intention of doing horror games, and I end up just playing like simulators and things. I have played a few good ones. The multiplayer ones I've enjoyed, like what's it called? Content Warning. Have you seen that one? It's like you and a group of people go into a weird area, and you've got cameras. And it's like you're shooting a YouTube video and you've got to get the best footage. Yep. So like if you film someone getting killed by a monster,
that's right,
you get, more views, and then you got to make it out of this place with the camera, and then you upload the footage to like,
what that reminds me of? That reminds me of that multiplayer game when you are with a group of people. It's a co-op game. I think it's up to sort of 4 or 6 players, and you work for a massive global corporation, and you have to go to all these off-world planets and collect junk.
Yeah, Lethal Company.
That's it. And
I played that. There's tons of games like that at the minute. They're all kind of similar, but they're kind of fun. I don't do a lot of multiplayer gaming because. Like I said before, I'm a bit of an introvert. I don't like socializing too much, but now and then I manage to rope together a few people to play a game like that, and I do enjoy them.
Yeah, I still got to jump on board, and it's just like we got to make a point of doing something like that, because what I would like to do, I'd like to do one of these like the backroom stuff where you are a group of people and you explore the back rooms together. I think that would be fun. I've been watching a lot of that lately as well. Though the whole backrooms thing is, it's not as big as it was. It's still got its core following. And I think what's his is it Kane Pixels? He's got he's got signed for a movie deal, and I think it's coming out in 2026. I don't know. It's a backrooms film, but I think that the whole video and all the the pictures and stuff like that, and the lore. I don't know about you, but I've been really into as well the lore of like gaming lore, like Dark Souls and stuff like that, where you just got the video game, but people go out there and they spend hours and hours. They research the backstory,
Yeah, I like all that, and I like the things where they like break into the game files and like find all this hidden stuff and
out of
talk
bounds
about all
stuff.
that. Yeah, the out of bounds. I love all that. Yeah.
Talking about the whole uncanny thing, right? We've all been to places, right, where you're there on your own. This is the obvious ones where everybody listening has most probably had this happen to them, where you are in a place where it could be a shopping centre, right? Before it's going to close, because back in the old days, shopping centres closed at like 5 o'clock. They weren't open all night, and you would get there at 4:45 because you had to pick up your pair of shoes or whatever, and there would be like 2 or 3 people in there, and it would be like completely desolate. All the shops would be closing. They'd be all getting ready to sort of, or they'd most probably be closed, and there would be a few left open, and you would get that kind of like that uncanny feeling that you were the only ones in there. And I had this in a hospital. When I was in a hospital, it was very, very late at night, or early in the morning actually. It must have been about 3-4 in the morning, and I was there, and there was no one else. Well, there was other people there. Obviously, it was a hospital, but there was no activity in the hospital. So it was all like, the basics. Everybody was asleep. And I had that uncanny feeling then of being not, of course I was not alone because there were other people there, but I always felt I was being watched or somebody was just around the corner or whatever. Maybe it's my senses, but I've had that a few times. And I think that when you transpose that into video games, I've watched a lot of videos lately where people go into the old video games that are no longer populated, where like
the online games and things like that. Yeah,
and it still comes over, doesn't it? Have you noticed that?
Mm.
Have you done any of that? Have you gone into those dead servers?
No. Well, actually, there was an old game, and I cannot remember the name of it. And this was probably like 20 years ago. There was this weird online game, which they'd started up and they thought it was going to be the next big thing. And then it flopped, but there were still like about 5 people still on it every day. And I honestly can't remember the name of it, but it was just weird. It was something like that sort of Second Life thing where it's just like you have an avatar and you walk around and then people could make their own little spaces in there. And they were just like weird, like mazes. And obviously because the graphics weren't very good. And it just had this like really eerie feeling to it. Like everything looked kind of, I don't know. It's that liminal space thing, isn't it? Where it's just. I definitely think the old like graphics of
the 90s,
somewhere between like PS1 and PS2 era, that sort of time. Those graphics really translate well into these weird liminal spaces. And I remember playing this online game and just walking around these like empty spaces. We're obviously supposed to have like hundreds of people walking around interacting with each other. And it was just empty and just creepy. I wish I remember the name of it. I remember it was always posted on 4chan's paranormal board. Every now and then people would go in and like report things that they'd found. And there was always like 1 or 2 people just hanging around all the time, like years after this game had like pretty much been, dead.
Well, I have an experience that I had. I got into Second Life. Now, for anyone out there who doesn't know, what is he on about Second Life? Well, Second Life was, it's a massive multiplayer game. It's you can log in and you can create an avatar and you become a digital self. You give yourself a name and you can go into this world and there's an economy. You can buy a house, you can buy stuff, you can buy clothes. You can go to parties. There's a lot of corporations for a while. It got so big that a lot of corporations were doing presentations on there where you could go there and go and be part of it. And there was live concerts on there. It was huge. Not so much now. But anyway, I remember getting into it. And I thought after a while, I met this guy, right? And I didn't really know what I was doing, right? He's saying, like, because obviously you can talk as well. It's got voice chat on there. And he's like, are you new? And I said, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. He said, I will show you how to do things. And of course, I would take you under my wing. And he was taking me around. He showed me these different places. He explained me what to do. And this is like there's a weirdness about this. And he's asking me all these questions, do I do this? Do I do that? What do I like? And I'm thinking, okay, it's all right. It's all right. And after a few days of this, I would log in every day and go back. And I thought, is he trying to get me to join like a cult or something? Is he trying to get me to sort of join some sort of secret sort of society or something like that? What's going on here? Why is he asking me so many questions? Why does he want to take me places and meet people who are very sort of shady, And then he said to me, you can come back to my place and I show you. And I'm like, okay, yeah, are you cool? I'm cool with that. Let's go. Off we went and we did a bit of a flying thing. And we ended up at his place, and it was this big building. He obviously his house. Because you can buy. This is a weird thing. You can buy a digital house in Second Life. Weird that only you can go into. I don't know. It looks a bit like Minecraft, I suppose, or something like that. But anyway, so not only can you buy stuff in Minecraft, but you can lock stuff and make it private, like GTA. Another question about GTA, but anyway. So anyway, so I'm going into his house, right? He's got all this lavish stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, yes, definitely this geezer is a cult leader, and he wants to subvert me to become a minion or something. He wants me to be a minion of his cult. No, it wasn't none of that, Tom. It wasn't none of that. Do you know what it was? He was just trying to sell me furniture. He was trying to sell me his furniture he had made in Second Life. So he was trying to get me to get a house so he could sell me like a table and a coffee table and a chair.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I don't want none of that because I'm a free bird. I'm just going to fly away. And I went away. And but anyway, yeah, that was weird. So my other weird experience was when I first got online and I first started to explore GTA 5 when it first came out, and it was, I mean, it's still huge now, but when it was mega. And I remember, because you had to play part of the game before you could get onto the multiplayer. And I had some weird experiences on that game where I used to go exploring, and I had this with Fallout as well. Have you ever done this? Have you ever gone to like parts of the map where you think nobody else has gone, and it kind of just fell off?
Yeah, there's some weird spaces in GTA games.
Do you think that's intentional?
Probably. I mean, like the fifth one, they really tried to fill out every single area, so there's always something to find if you go to a different place. I remember GTA 3 had like some really weird places. There was places where you would like walk into a wall and then you'd like fall through the map because there was no, they hadn't thought anyone would walk up there, and it was like there was no barrier there, so you just fall under the map because I thought, no one will go up here.
You had the UFOs, then you had the Bigfoot. You had the Bigfoot in that wasn't GTA 5. That was San Andreas, wasn't it? That was the Bigfoot.
I thought that was that real though. I remember all these rumors about all these weird things you could find in there, and then like I could never find them. I thought if you go to a certain place at a certain time of night and then you wait there, a weird guy will turn up or something like that. And I tried all these things. I could never get them to work.
Well, I hope it wasn't a weird guy in a car park bouncing a ball against the wall.
Oh, yeah.
No, so those in the know will get that joke, and those not going, what's he on about there?
I used to have a weird thing with because we're talking about weird stuff in video games. I used to play a lot on the Xbox 360. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and I remember I would play it, and I was not amazing, but I was all right. And like, at the end of the matches, you get your kill death ratio, like how many people you've killed versus how many times you've died. And mine was always all right. I'd get a decent score. But I remember one night, it was about 3 a.m. It was probably at 3 a.m. I suddenly started playing really badly, probably because I was tired. I don't know. But I remember exactly at the end of the match, it was exactly, I'd been killed 33 times and I'd killed 3 people.
Whoa, 3.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's weird. And then instantly, the game, the server shut off and it got a message, lost connection to host. I was like, what the hell? I don't know why I was a bit weirded out by that. I think it was just because it was like 3 a.m. and it was the 333 numbers.
That's weird.
It kept happening at the exact same time of night, multiple times a night, and to the point where I stopped playing it at that time. I don't know whether it was just because I was getting tired and I started playing really badly, but it was always the same number, 33 deaths, 3 kills.
I think the whole number thing is interesting. When you think of numerology, I got creeped out like that once by, I have an electric meter that I put credit on because I don't like bills. So I put the money on the meter before I use it, so I know exactly what my, just being a little bit budget orientated. I know it's a little bit more expensive, but it's just the way it is. And I remember going up there one day. I got some money on charged my key card thing up, and I went upstairs like la 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 la, gonna put some electric on the meter, and I opened the door. And I opened the cupboard where the meter is, and I looked at the meter and put the light on, and it was 666. And I just looked at it and I thought, I'll leave that for now and I'll do it tomorrow when it's not 666. Because I thought, if I put it in, maybe something will happen. Maybe I'll get electrocuted or something. Maybe something will go wrong. So, I just turned around and walked back out. I thought, there's plenty on there. I'll leave that for a day or two. But that was weird. But you're right. When you go to these places, you know what's weird? I used to play a lot of Modern Warfare. And I logged on. I've still got Modern Warfare 2, I think, on my 360. And I've got it on my... I play a lot of Bad Company. I used to play a lot of Bad Company 2 multiplayer as well. Because that's how I roll. I'm old school. And so... I know what you mean about that, but do you know what's weird is when you go on those maps and you can hear all that ambient sound going on, the explosions and the shouting, but there's no one on there. There's no one on there, but you can hear it because it's all part of the script of making the ambient sound of the map come alive, and you can hear the occasional explosion, or you can hear someone shout in the distance or scream or whatever, and you think that's just like... that's what makes it weird. Yeah, that it's there's no one on there. And also when you go on these random servers, which I've got a lot of games. I've got to admit, on my Xbox, I've got a 360, which I occasionally turn on. And when it did have multiplayer, it's all switched off now, isn't it? But when it did have, there wasn't a lot of people playing the older games, and one of the weird things is when you go on a game and you go on a map and there's no one on there and you're running around thinking, it's just me running around playing on my own, joined a map, and then suddenly you'll meet someone else randomly, just out of nowhere. That's a bit weird as well, Yeah,
but you're there, so it stands to reason that someone else will have the same idea, like, just have a look on this. Yeah, I've had a few experiences. I always feel awkward when that happens because it's like...
I do a little bobbing.
It's fine when there's loads of people online.
Yeah.
But then when there's one random person, you kind of feel like you have to interact with them. I'm like, hello.
It was a bit weird. I waved. I gave the little wave and then he shot at me, so I ran off. It's like GTA. When I first got into GTA, my first experience of what I would call massive multiplayer. I played multiplayer before, but this was on a different scale, and I went onto GTA. It was GTA. It was GTA 5, and I got onto GTA, and I was in the world, and I saw all this chaos going on, of just people just killing each other, just blowing stuff up, and I thought this is a bit weird. I thought it would be a bit more organised than this, and I was by a shop, and then somebody drove a cement mixer into me, and I thought, well, that was nice, that was nice. So
average GTA Online experience.
Yes. Yeah. So I moved away from there pretty smartish, and I thought the only way to experience this game is to play on a private server, have a private map and play with your mates, and stay away from the rabble, But But anyway, okay, now we can officially say to everyone, now we're going to talk about a paranormal story. Okay. Now we're on to the paranormal segment, right? We've had a little bit of a gaming talk. We're going to talk about some paranormal stuff now. So we're at we're 30 minutes into the podcast, and all I've done for most of that is waffle my arse off. But there you go. Anyway, so I wanted to hear. You told me a little story before when we was having our pre-chit chat.
Yeah.
About, was it a monkey man or something? Was it?
I'll tell you. Let me just get up. I've got to.
This is weird. It's weird.
The only places so I heard about the story on the Beyond Creepy YouTube channel, and then I looked at the source of it, and he's the only person I've ever heard mention it.
Okay.
I wanted to look into it to make a video, but there's only one source, which is the OMV UFO magazine from 1998.
Classic.
That's the only report. I cannot find anything else about this story, so I'll just talk about it here because it's crazy. I've never heard anything like this before. So this happened in 1978. There's a guy called Kevin. He was working as a forestry worker in a place called Repton Shrubs near Derbyshire. He was working like clearing forestry, like clearing out so like, workmen could get in and drive things down, clearing like a sort of corridor through a forest. And he and another guy were working there in this Repton Shrubs area. And he said it always felt eerie in this particular place. He said there was hardly any animals in there, and you don't see anyone in there walking around, like walking their dogs or anything. He says it's just creepy. He didn't like working there. So yeah, he's cutting an inspection track through the trees,
right?
And he walks through them, and he suddenly stops because in front of him, he sees what at first he thinks it's a fox coming towards him,
right?
But then he realizes it's standing on its back two legs, which I've heard foxes can do. Like I've heard people reporting foxes walking on their back legs, but it's just walking down, like strolling through the woods, just like like it does this every day. But it's sort of dark brown color. It doesn't look like orange like a fox, but it's got that sort of shaped head. But he notices other weird things about it. It's got like its back. It's got like almost like a shell. It's like two. He describes it as its back. It was solid. It wasn't fur, sloping down to the ground, almost like a locust's folded in wings. He says it didn't make any noise. It had dark eyes, and it was walking through the trees towards where my friend was. He said, I shouted, Stephen, there's something coming your way. At this point, the fox creature sort of turns and looks at them, and then they notice as it's walking through like this thick forest area that they've got to cut out to get through, none of the leaves or anything around it are moving out of its way. It's like it's sort of passing through all this like shrubbery and stuff. It's not rustling or anything. There's no noise. And suddenly the fox thing turns and it walks as if it's walking down a staircase in the ground. And they just see its head like sink down, down, down. Just like it's walking down a staircase. And then it's out of sight. So they run over to the site where they saw it go. There's nothing there on the ground. There's no hole or anything. It's just forest ground. There's nothing. There's no sign of this creature anywhere. It's like it walked through the ground, through a staircase in the ground.
Is there any reports of what he did next?
They ran back up the inspection path. Hold on. I'm just going through the article here to see what he does. No, it doesn't say. I'm guessing they just left the area quite sharpish. That's the end of the story. He just saw this creature. They did see a UFO about a year before this incident. They saw like some weird lights going over the same area about a year before. But that's the only other follow-up. Like I say, this story, he's got a drawing of it as well, which is a pretty funny drawing. But yeah, I don't know. It's just such a weird story. And like, that's the only thing I can find about it. I've looked and looked online to find like, because he's only named as Kevin. They don't give his full name. I can't find anyone else like talking about it online apart from this Beyond Creepy channel where I first heard it. But yeah, it doesn't say.
When people see stuff in the woods, okay, I always, I listen to a lot of like folklore and fairy podcasts. Yeah. Not by fairies, but that'd be a bit weird, wouldn't it? Like fairies all sat around a microphone talking about what they get up to in the forest. Make some money out of that. Anyway, so I listen to a lot of those kind of podcasts, and people tend to say when they have an experience that what they see tends to change. It changes shape or it morphs into something else. Do you think that might possibly could be?
Yeah, or like the thing he's seen isn't the actual thing. It's more like an illusion, or like his mind can't sort of cope with what the real thing is, so it's just sort of like filling in the blanks with like, oh, it's just a fox.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just got wings. Yeah, I don't know. There's loads of stories like that where people just encounter a weird creature that looks like a sort of. They always describe it as looking like another animal. Like, oh, I saw a monkey with a man's head, or something like that. Like it's like they see something really odd, and then their mind sort of goes, kind of grasps onto something that it looks like that they know of, so they can make sense of it.
Look at the kids that were play. We did an episode on it, didn't we? The kids playing football and the little monkey thing in the tree, and they saw it and they all ran off. And
that other story you told me about where a kid goes missing. I think this is in America. He goes missing and ends up in a cave, and his grandma in there.
The robot grandma. The robot grandma. Yeah. He gets his grandma. He gets lost and he meets his. I'm doing this from memory, so I might muck it up, but I'm going to do my best. This is in like one of the national parks, and he's with his family. They're on holiday. They go and play hide and seek. He gets lost. He ends up in the forest, and he meets a lady, which is his grandma, but it's not his grandma, and she takes him back to a cave, and she wants him to go to the toilet on a piece of paper. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And she gets angry about it. And then she apologizes. And then he realizes, or he finds out that she's a robot. And in the cave, he says that he can see lots of satchels and backpacks all covered in dust. And there's rifles and stuff against the wall. The robot grandma, with the weird smile, brings him back to a place and puts him in a bush, and I'm doing this from memory, puts him in a bush and says, wait there, you'll be fine. And she does one, and then some time later, short while later, some people searching find him. They take him back to get him checked out and stuff. He's okay, but he's got a whacked out story which he tells them, and they're like, whoa, what's all that about? Robot grandma having a poo on a bit of paper, what's all that about? So in a cave, and they I don't know if they try to find the cave, I'm not sure, but anyway, the lady who apparently, I think it was the grandma or the mother, they have an experience as well, and they end up getting these marks on them. They end up getting these marks on their neck or on their arm or something, where they have an experience as well, because they start talking about it, and they feel that they're being warned. We can get to you. We can get to you. But anyway, that's a very weird one. But there's lots of those. I most probably completely murdered that story, but you get the gist of it.
That sounds pretty accurate from what I remember of it. Yeah,
I kind of
but it's like these things. They either take on some kind of shape that you'll recognize to make you feel more ease, or like I say, it's like your mind fills in something because it needs to recognize something. So it just, this kid saw his grandma, this guy saw a fox. There's so many stories like that. It's like I did a whole video on people who've seen things that looked like the Michelin Man, and I noticed that all of those, like most of those sightings, took place in France, or places where they spoke French. And it's like, I don't know, the Michelin Man, that's kind of, isn't that like French?
Big thing over there, the Michelin Man is like everywhere.
Like a really like recognizable symbol.
Yeah.
So like people will sort of see this weird thing, and then, I don't know, it takes on the form of something they'll feel more comfortable with, or they just sort of see something weird and they're like, oh, that looks like the Michelin Man. I don't know. So many weird stories like that where it's either there's like millions and millions of these weird creatures and they all look different, and there's just all these different things running around, or it's some sort of shape-shifting thing where it's the same sort of creature and it always looks a bit different to people.
Well, yeah. I mean, you think of the Bigfoots, and people that have said that they encounter a Bigfoot in the forest when they're out deep in the woods. It almost morphs into other animals. It seems to, one minute it's on its hind legs, and then it's something else. And also where they talk about the feral, allegedly the feral people of Appalachia, where they have people that live deep in the forest that have got their own kind of community, and they all kind of like live together as a group. And when people go missing, it's because they're really cannibals and they're eating them. They're gobbling them up, and they're all a bit weird because they're all like a little bit inbred. So maybe all that's connected. I don't know.
I've had a couple of times, right? I don't know whether this is probably just me misinterpreting things, but I swear a couple of times I've been out walking. I go walking a lot in nature and walk the dog every day. And a couple of times I've seen something run across the field in front of me. And I thought, oh, look, a rabbit's going across, and I'll watch it run. And then suddenly it'll stop. I've had this happen like once or twice to me. It stops, and I think, oh, why has it stopped? And it's just motionless. And I'll walk up to where it is, and it's just like a pile of leaves. I'm like, what the hell? Like it's been like blowing along, and it looks like a rabbit or something. But I swear, like I saw a rabbit run, and then it stopped, and then all of a sudden, and I watched like the form of this thing just stop, and I walk up to it, and it's just like a twig or some leaves or something. I swear that's happened to me a couple of times.
I got chased by I think it was a geese or a swan once, and
Right.
It was one of the most terrifying things I have ever experienced. And I've been chased by dogs, a horse, an angry cow. I don't know why it chased me, because I wasn't doing anything to it. It just chased me. I think it was because I was in its field. I was like, go across the field. No, the cow will get you. And it did. It ran after us. But the most terrifying was being chased by, I don't know, it was a geese or a swan. But it was, it must have been I thought it was like making a hissing sound. Maybe it was a swan.
Yeah, they're scary.
Scary or what? But it was like, if you imagine, right, seeing that, the point I'm saying is that it had all its wings were like really stretched out. And it was almost like it was trying to kind of punch me, like wing punch me. That would have been crazy, wouldn't it? Knock me out. I was knocked out by a swan officer. It punched me in the face. Yeah. No, but it had its wings out, and it was like it was running kind of waddling at me a bit, because it was, and I ran away. I went, oh, you can't catch me, ha ha ha. But yeah, it was quite fast, but it was still scary. And but you can imagine, right, at a distance, somebody at a distance seeing that, right, seeing me running away from this swan, geese, swan, I wasn't sure, I can't remember, and then looking at it going, well, that looks like it could be like that could be a dragon. He's running from a dragon, because of the way it looks, silhouetted against the. Sometimes I think our brains misidentify stuff, and we see stuff, and our brain goes, oh, I know what that is. Yeah, that is a dragon. That's a mini dragon, and then we interpret it that way. Not saying that that's not always the case, because clearly it's not. But sometimes I do think that when it comes to seeing things, I mean, how many times have you woken up in the middle of the night and looked and thought and saw your chair and thought there's an old man sat on it looking at you, when you realise it's just all a bunch of clothes? Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, and the brain does patently try and recognise patterns and builds up things, doesn't it? Yeah, I do think that's probably what happened when I saw what I thought was a rabbit. I probably just saw a pile of leaves and it just looked like something from a distance. But I also think that is, they always use that explanation to sort of debunk a lot of cryptid sightings.
Yeah.
They just saw an owl or something like that, or I don't know. Like I'm researching the Dover Demon case at the minute, and it's like 3 people saw this thing on separate occasions, and it's like some kind of hairless humanoid, looks like an alien basically. And then they're trying to debunk it, saying, "Oh, they just saw a baby moose." And it's like, I could understand.
No, where was it?
It was in Dover, Massachusetts, and but I could understand. Like, I could see how one person would see this thing. Like, you saw a baby moose in the middle of the night and thought, "Oh, what's that?" And then thought they saw it. But for multiple people to see it and all see like a similar creature, I don't see how you could just see 3 people would see a baby moose on different occasions and misinterpret it as exactly the same weird creature.
I think when it comes to, as I say, us interpreting things, when it comes to the unexplained, I think that there are people out there that have had 100% weird experiences, and what they've experienced is what they've experienced, and no matter what what way you try and spin it, they have experienced something very, very strange or unsettling or uncanny or whatever it might be. And then there are people who, for lack of a better word, have got really, really overactive imagination, and it's not through their own fault, but they'll see something and they will over sort of over experience it, and to them it will become something that it most probably isn't, but to them they will convince themselves that let's be honest, right? You can convince yourself about anything if you keep telling it. You buy a car and you go, it's the best car in the world, it's amazing. Oh, because you spent a load of money on a car, so that car is the best car on the whole planet, and you want to tell everyone about it because you're convinced yourself. And then when it goes wrong, it's the worst car and you want to get rid of it because it's junk. So it's so easy for us to trick ourselves into believing one thing or the other. But that's not to say that there is something weird. People do experience the weirdness that's out there. And I think that, like you said, you were out for a walk, you saw something, maybe a little bunny having a run, but it might not have been. It might have been something, you interpret it differently, and you might have seen something that was completely off the wall. Completely,
maybe
completely weird, and that leads me on to I got a little story here about something. It's one of these, somebody gave an account of something, or maybe it's not really connected, but it's about fate, and it's about how things happen, and do they happen for a reason. So this is from the perspective of another person, and another family member, not my family member, but somebody else's family. So I'm going to read it to you, and then you can give me your thoughts on if it's real or not. So it says, when my mum was in her 20s, she and a friend decided to go to a psychic, just for fun, as you do. The psychic told her friend that soon she would have more money than she ever imagined. Right, I'd like to go to the psychic and have that told to me, but it would cost her everything. Right, imagine that, going to the psychic, and the psychic says, I've got some really good news. You're going to have more money than you can imagine. I don't know, I can imagine quite a lot of money. And then they said, but it will cost you everything. I'd be like, I don't know about that. I'll have the money. Go on, just give me the money. Just a bit of it.
I could just buy it back.
Yeah, I'll be all right. Don't worry. I'll be rich beyond my wildest dreams, so I'll be fine. So it said, she said she would have more money than she could ever imagine, but it would cost her everything. Now, here's the upshot to that. A month later, she nearly died in a gas explosion at her apartment. She was burned with more than 70% of her body, right? So 70% of her body was covered in burns. That's quite serious.
That's pretty nasty.
Yeah. But she received over $1 million from the city because they knew about the gas leak and they didn't bother to fix it.
All right.
So, that's a weird one. So that's like going to a psychic. Have you ever gone to a psychic? Have they ever told you anything about, Tom, you are going to be a famous horror YouTuber one day?
No, I don't think I've ever been to a psychic. No, I've never had any run-ins with anything like that. I usually just assume that they're all scammers. That's an interesting story though, because usually what you'd think is, or the way I've heard it explained when these, when people put a curse on someone and then their life starts to fall apart, or like that, they tell them something good's going to happen and then something good happens. It's usually like explained as like they've put the belief into that person's head, so they like, they live their life in a different way after that. They tell them they're going to be rich, so they go out and they take the opportunities and live their life in a positive way, and then they become rich because they're doing it off their own steam, really, and it's just the idea has been planted in their head. But if that exactly happened exactly as you described, the psychic said something, and then something happened which wouldn't even be like, it wouldn't be anything to do with that person going home and doing something. It's just like a freak accident.
Yeah,
the gas exploded and burnt them from 70% of their body or whatever. That's it. Yeah, that's interesting.
I had a friend. This is years ago. They were into spiritualism, and we've got a we had, I don't know if we still have, we have a spiritualism church or group or meeting point in Weston. I don't know if we still have, but this is years ago. This is like, 20 years ago. And they were like, they would go and they would regularly see, there was a person there who was apparently a psychic, a medium, and they would do sit-ins with them, and they would come and tell me, I've seen, I had a reading and they told me this and they told me that, and I was like, okay, I might have a go, I might have a check it out, get the lottery numbers or whatever, and I never did though. I never got around to it. But years later, and they were like really into it, they used to go regular, but years later, as I get older, and you people pass away and stuff like that, I think to myself, I was going to do it as a bit of an experiment. I wanted to. Somebody who I know said, "Oh yeah, I go to this." They called them a sensitive once a month, and they give me advice on life advice, like a like a psychic life coach. They give me idea, they give me the which direction I should be taking with my life. They don't tell me what I should do, but they suggest stuff that the ethereal beings suggest or whatever. So I thought to myself, I should go and see this person and just say, lay it on me, come on, impress me, tell me something, but not in that way, because I sound too much like a gangster. But do you know what I mean? Like in a normal way. And but I would be scared that they would say, oh yeah, and this and that. And I'm like, whoa, hang on a minute, how do you know that? And I don't know how that would, I don't know how I would deal with that. Do you know what I mean? Imagine going to, a psychic and then them telling you something, Tom, about you or about your life that you knew either very few, that they shouldn't know for a start. Yeah. Where are they getting that information from? Are they connected to the ether, the global consciousness, or are they reading your mind, which is even scarier?
Or are they? Because I've watched way too many things about exposing these like psychics. Either they're just cold reading, or some of them will get like, everyone who buys a ticket, they will get the information of the people who've bought the tickets, and then look them up online, find all this information about them, and then give them like, I see you've bought a house recently. And it's like, yeah, because it's on my Facebook. Yeah. They do that. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying like every psychic out there is some scammer, but like, I just feel like I've seen too many of these things. I'd be instantly suspicious if they started reeling off all this stuff about me.
I know vaguely of a case of something like that, similar to that I where the alleged person. Now I'd be pretty, if I legitimately had the gift, and I think everyone in some way, I know I'm going to use the word psychic, but I think everyone in some little way is a little bit sensitive, and I think that the sensitivity that you have is trust your gut. Trust your gut. If you go somewhere and it's like, this is a bit weird, that's your gut telling you. That's your inner self going, sort it out on your way. Don't hang around here. It's not good. There won't be nothing good will come of this. I think that we've all got that, because for years, I have trusted my gut, and I have kind of like thought to myself, you go somewhere and you think, oh, it's a bit dodgy around here, and then your little man in your head goes,
run away,
and it's like, you think, I'm going to leave, I'm not going to hang around, and then of course your mate says, oh, I'll stay, and he goes, oh, I got in a right old fist fight earlier with this geezer who was drunk and he had a go, and I think, oh, lucky I didn't hang around, and I left or whatever. But it's sometimes you've got that little sixth sense in you that it just gives you that little nudge. Sometimes you don't have to listen to it. For example, people go to the airport and then they get an overwhelming urge to not get on the plane. They just not get on the plane. Do not get on the plane, and then they don't. For whatever reason, they might miss the plane. They go to the toilet and they come out and the plane's already boarded, and they think, oh, I'm not going to make an effort, I'll wait. And then there's a horrible accident or whatever. I mean...
Yeah, my thing is, though, I get that feeling every single time I haven't really flown that much because I used to be terrified of it. I recently had like hypnotherapy to get over it.
Did it work?
It worked. I'm able to get on a plane, but I still, every time I go to the airport, I get that feeling like, I shouldn't get on this plane. Something bad's going to happen. And I've got to tell myself, no, it's not some premonition. It's just my, like, the fear coming back and, making me want to run away. It's that fight or flight instinct kicking in.
Yeah. It's
but there have been times when I ignored that feeling and then something bad had happened.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I've had that happen.
We went to Athens, like, and I just got a feeling like, no, we shouldn't do this. It's not going to be good. And then we just ended up like stuck in the middle of it, all this traffic. And then when we're trying to leave, there was like this massive queue. We were stuck in it for hours and hours and hours. And I thought, I should have listened to my gut there. I knew this was going to be a bad day. Yep,
it's always the way. Yeah, you don't listen to your gut, and you end up all goes down the Swanee. All goes down the Swanee. Mm-hmm. I've got another story here. I'm gonna before we end out this Halloween edition. I got another one. I got another little snippet. So I'm gonna tell you another little story. So this one is like a couple of decades ago. I was working upstairs in my home office when I heard the front door open downstairs, and my older brother, who lived 4 hours away and whom I was not expecting, announced his arrival with a hello in the manner that he was distinctive to him. I don't know if he actually sounded like that, but he sounded a little bit like are you the guy from Are You Being Served? If you're English, you know what that's all about. If you're old enough, once again, people are going, what is he all about? So anyway, I was surprised but pleased. He was visiting, and I yelled to him that I would be down in a couple of seconds after I'd saved my work on the computer. I went downstairs to greet him, but he was nowhere to be found. I figured he'd slipped outside to get something from his car, but there was no car and no brother. Completely perplexed, I eventually made my way upstairs again to resume my work, annoyed, speculating that my brother had driven off to run an errand or visit a buddy, and wondering why he couldn't have waited a few moments for me. I sat down at my desk, and with a couple of seconds, the landline rang. It was my brother, telling me he'd be coming into town in a couple of days and wanted to make sure I'd be around. I absolutely thought he was pranking me, but after maybe 10 minutes of me grilling him, making him hang up, and me calling him at his home number, I begrudgingly accepted that he was indeed at his home hours away. It creeped me out, but when I think about it these days, mainly I am bemused and in wonder. I like believing that I had some sort of paranormal experience, or whatever it might be called. And that was from an Andrew M. Richards of BC, Canada.
Yeah, that's a good one. There's a few stories like that.
Yeah,
I think the Scandinavians have like a name for that experience. It's like they refer to it as like, it's almost like deja vu, like, but before it happens. Like they have a person, what called like Vardoga or something like that. I don't know how you pronounce it, but they have a name for that. It's like almost like a ghost of a person who arrives home before the person. So you hear someone coming in through the front door, and you go to see, and there's no one there. And then like a few hours later or a few days later, they actually arrive home, and it's almost like exactly the same motions as what you heard before. You've probably had times like this in your life where you think of someone you haven't heard from in ages.
Stop it.
And then all of a sudden you get a phone call or an email, and it's like that person. And it's
like... Yeah. Stop it.
It's like almost like you pick up on the fact that they're thinking about you and they're going to get in touch with you. All of a sudden this random person pops in your head. You hadn't thought about them for years. And then all of a sudden your phone rings.
Stop it.
I've had that happen so
many times. I can be watching the telly, watching a bit of YouTube, and I think, well, I wonder how Gary's doing. Ding! There's a message from Gary. All right, mate, how's it going? I've been thinking about you. I'm like, oh my God, I must be psychic. And then you think about somebody, and moments, you think about them, and moments later, the phone rings and it's them. And
I've had that happen so many times.
Or when you're having I know this could be some sort of way of your brain kind of a little bit like AI does. It kind of predicts what's going to come next. But you're having a conversation with somebody, and then you're going, yeah, of course, yeah. And then you think of the words in your head, what you're going to say next, and they say it.
Yeah.
They say the exact words of what you're just about to say. And then, of course, you go, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Uh-huh.
You know? Get out of my head.
Yeah. It's weird.
So, So, anyway, what we were talking about, Halloween. Oh, yeah, it was meant to be a Halloween episode, wasn't it? Oh, well, that went well. Have you got any more weird stories? Or are we going to end?
That weird fox story is pretty much the only one I got. Actually, I've got, the only one I got is... it'll probably be out by now. I'm making a video about the Dover Demon case.
Don't spoil it. Oh,
no, I won't. It'll be out already. So, but there is. It's not really a massive story, but there is a bit that I found. Like I always do this. I finish a video because it's all recorded now, and then I find another bit, and it's like, I wish I could. But the Dover Demon case.
Yes.
These kids see this weird creature around
the
these
Skin
woods
Man thing,
Yeah, Skin Man. The only thing I found, which I kind of wish I'd included, was that there was potentially like a strange Men in Black encounter after it, where one of the women who worked at one of the... Let me see if I can find the... So yeah, Lauren Coleman, who was researching the case, apparently these two men appeared at her house looking for him.
Was it an escaped... Maybe it was like an escaped alien, and... that's what they saw, and then the Men in Black were like, you didn't see nothing, right? You saw nothing.
I was trying to find out what the relation was to the woman to the Dover Demon case. I think she worked at the school, maybe, or she knew the witnesses, something along those lines. But anyway, these two men appear at a door one day. They're wearing white motorcycle helmets and wearing like black leather jackets. And she says they stand there with their arms like perfectly by the sides, and they're like completely motionless, like just their stance is weird. They're just standing there, and they speak in like a really monotone way, and they ask her about the Dover Demon case, like what she thought of it, and all this stuff. And then they tell her they're from National Geographic for some reason.
Weird.
And then they leave, and they tell her not to tell anyone about it. That's the only thing I wanted to talk about, because I forgot to include it in my video, but there is a weird Men in Black case.
Anyway, Tom, so I've waffled way too much. I'm very sorry to the listeners. I think you're very disappointed in me for talking a lot of old fluff. But I have enjoyed myself, and it's nice to have Tom on, and I'm sure you're gurgling with glee that Tom's back and hearing what he's been up to. He's been a busy boy. He's had a lot on. But what I was going to say was, when's your next Twitch stream, and what you got coming up apart from your video?
I'll probably do one after this, after we finish recording this. So it'll be tonight. But when's this episode going up?
In about a week.
Well then.
Well, no, in a few days.
I stream mostly Monday to Friday from like 5 UK time for a couple of hours. I've been kind of ill the last couple of weeks, so I haven't been doing it.
We're definitely going to end now. So I want to say thanks to everyone for listening and sticking with us. And also, if I don't know if I put this out there enough, but if you the best way to promote this podcast that doesn't cost you anything, because that's the most important, is to like it and share it and tell your friends about it. And if it's on YouTube, which it will be, is to subscribe and comment. So that's all the free things you can do. And then there's another way you can send donations, but that's not important. That they don't have to do that, because I know that not everyone is made of money. So yeah, and I'm sure Tom will be back sooner rather than later, because I know people enjoy listening to us talk about a lot of old things. I don't know what we'll come up with next time, but it will be just as interesting as this episode. So have a nice Halloween, and don't eat too many sweets, and don't watch too many horror films, because they will give you nightmares. And from Tom and myself, have a nice time, and talk to you soon.
Bye.